So I do what you do, but for the Chinese entrepreneur niche. I had 75 members join in within the first week or so, charging $1,000 each. And my
lifetime, monthly, one time?
I'm doing a founding member stage, so it's once off for life, and then I'm going to do $1,000.
So 1K lifetime. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
I got two questions. The first one is I really want to hit the 1 million monthly rep target on school as soon as I can. What do I need to do?
But right now you're at 75K total, correct?
Yes.
Okay. It's a bit of a, okay. Okay. So what did you do to get your first set of customers?
I have a book club. I have about 20,000 subscribers, and I summarized your 3 books in Chinese. And I'm pretty good.
Okay. Yeah, right. Yeah. So what am I doing? You're like, write another book, Alex, and you make some money. No. So, yeah, I know, right? Okay. Jeez. Okay. What is the consistent value that you provide the people in the community?
So I've done this for many years, and I've made not summarizing your book.
Okay. He's like, I take your content too.
I've been a small time KOL in Australia for the Chinese community.
KOL?
Key opinion leaders.
Okay, guys.
Yeah,
So
on YouTube.
Okay.
So I have a group of audience, and I've made some okay money during COVID.
Who's the audience?
Overseas Chinese entrepreneurs who are starting or are making some money.
Okay, got it. So the thing with membership, so this is gonna be, who here has a recurring revenue business? Okay, well then I'm gonna go a little deeper on this because this will be probably valuable for a handful of you. So in order to make a recurring revenue business actually recurring, so one of the big mistakes in the education business, which is fundamentally what you're in right now, is that people will take something that is inherently valuable and try to bill for it like it's consumable. So education has super high one-time value, right? The day before you know how to advertise, advertising is unbelievably valuable. The day after you know how to advertise, why would I pay for something I already know how to do? It goes from huge to zero. That is the problem with education in general, which is that everybody who has an education business wants to build continuity. Continuity is very hard to build if you purely have education as the primary value proposition. In a school community or any kind of recurring revenue business, you need to create or at least demonstrate consumable value. And so I'll give you a couple examples of this. So there's a super low churn community that does 3D printing in school. What they do is they find the hottest trending items, and then they create the 3D blueprint. I don't know how this stuff works, but like whatever, 3D blueprints, and then every week they upload those blueprints to their community. And so because it's trending, it's new, it's consumable. You consume this week's things, and next week's the trends are different, right? News in and of itself, news is consumable. Last week's news is no longer valuable, this week's news is, which is why news subscriptions do work, right? Different example, there was a real estate business that was on there that did wholesaling stuff. And what they did was they would find all the hot deals in an area, and they would pre-vet them, and then they would do it with their calculations or whatever, and say, these are all the hot lists. And so every week in every local market, people in their community would go see the building, and if they liked it, they already knew it was kind of pre-vetted. And so that creates this consistent thing that gets consumed. And then next week there'll be new deals, and some of those deals are gone. And so what you have to do, like gym launch, we made new ads that we tested every single month that we would then give to the gym owner. So rather than them spending money, wasting money on production, editing, and then the most expensive part, testing ads that don't work, we would already pre-film, test, whatever, and then we'd hand them only the winners. And then people would just take winning ads and then run them. But what do you need next month? More winning ads. And so that's what gave Gym Launch the super high margins that it had and kept it sticky. Because it was media functionally rather than quote education. And so we sold the box, which is like, this is the Gym Launch system, this is how you run the gym, this is the price point, the sales process. Once you teach that part, once you know the sales process, you know the script, you know the bundles, you have the white label stuff, you got it. It's zero value now. So what we do is we want to sell, like if you have inputs, you've got black box, and then you've got output being money, right? This is your one-time thing that's very valuable, but you can only charge for it once. This is much smaller, but you charge for it on a recurring basis. You sell the inputs to the machine. So, with your business, you'll probably have to, unless you're niche down, which is why niching is so valuable, because you can actually create the machine and then sell the inputs. I couldn't make ads for 100 different businesses because they're all different, right? I can't test 100 different businesses. And so if you have a super new or beginner network, you teach them 1, 2, or 3 different business models that would work, and then you sell the inputs, same way. If you have medium and larger business owners, it has to be about something different, which is probably going to be network, it's going to be access, it's going to be group negotiated discounts that you can do on behalf of everyone, and that is going to be valued much less than something that's one time that's going to immediately kind of make them more. And so sometimes I think this is where a lot of entrepreneurs who are in this space make mistakes, is that there needs to be, oftentimes there's a very big discrepancy between what you charge that one time versus the true willingness to pay for the small recurring revenue component of the business. That's okay, provided it's sticky, right? Because if you charge $10,000 up front and then it's $500 a month after that, it probably would be relatively sticky if someone's willing to pay $10 and it's $500 a month thereafter, as long as the $500 a month was still, $10,000 buys you some time, because I don't want to cancel it, it's pay $10,000. But as long as the ongoing value surpasses the 5, usually by 3 or 4x, then you're good to go. So I would really just back into how can I provide value to all these people? And ideally, in what way can I make it so that each additional member does not detract or dilute the value of the community, but actually adds value? Functionally, that's what a network effect is. Okay. Does that help?
Thank you. Second question is, what would it take me to become your global Chinese partner to help share your message with 15 million overseas Chinese entrepreneurs?
You'd have to have credibility. Real talk. So it's basically the reason that I think the content that I have has been able to perform really well is because I had the backdrop of we have proof, right? And so the Alex Ramosi brand was built off of a $100 million net worth prior to this. And so it wasn't hey, coaches coaching about whatever, right? It was I've already done this thing, and that's my proof that I don't need to do this. I will do this because I like it and I have other missions in my life. But that proof is the backdrop that everything stands on. And so that is what, if I were to partner with someone, I would want them to be bulletproof from a proof perspective in terms of what they had done to prove that they were. Because anyone can repeat the words. I mean, shoot. Literally anyone can repeat the words. The idea that why does my content outperform yours? It's because the messenger is 80 or 90% of the context within which the message is received. And so Elon can tweet, "I'm shitting on a toilet right now," and it'll get 200 million views because Elon's the richest man in the world, right? And so that backdrop is so embedded in the message that they're inextricable. And so obviously there's core components of value, but the why should I believe you is always the big blaring Vegas lights above everyone's head. Why should I, because if you think about why is authority compelling, right? Authority is compelling because it actually decreases risk. And so we listen to an authority because we don't have to process or spend nearly the mental effort to deduce whether this is true or not, or to what degree I think this is risky to follow. So for example, if Warren Buffett gives some sort of investing advice, most people would just say, Warren Buffett's one of the richest men in the world, he's arguably the best investor of our generation, therefore I will just listen to him. And so it's actually a more efficient way to consume information is to follow authoritative sources because it takes less cognitive load. That being said, being high agency as a person, you should separate those things. People aren't in general. But if you are a high agency person, you should be able to separate messenger from message. No one does though. And so for me, I would rather have, to use Napoleon's quote, I'd rather have lucky generals. And so if I were to do something like that, I would rather somebody have a big proof point that they can sit on, that then all of the content then makes sense within that context.
Thank you so much.
You bet. If you're a business owner and you're not growing as fast as you'd like, I'd like to give you a free gift. So my team and I put together the $100 million scaling roadmap, which is basically 200 hours of us looking over all the portfolio companies we've had and what stages of growth they went through, and more importantly, where they got stuck and how they got past it. And so we broke it into these 10 stages, and we made this little kind of quiz thing where if you put in your business information, it'll tell you where you're at, and the most important part for you, what to do for each of the functions of the business across product, marketing, sales, customer success, recruiting, IT, human resources, and finance. And so no matter what you're struggling with, someone else has already struggled with it and solved it. And so I'd like to give you this thing absolutely free. You can go to acquisition.com/roadmap, plug in your business information, and if you want us to actually help you deconstrain the business and you're trying to scale, we'd love to help you out. On the thank you page, you can just book a call with my team, and we will look at the business, see if we can help, and if we can, we'll invite you out to Vegas, and we'll do this in person live.